Hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation on Microsoft Business Central. We've put together this recording for our clients that are considering their ERP options and want to know a little bit more about what Business Central can do for them. Leading us in our presentation today is Matt Burkowski, our Principal Solution Architect.
All right, thanks, Elaine. I'm glad to be chatting with you all today. And as we dive in, we're going to keep it relatively short and sweet here. Just briefly retouch on some of the realities of the current state of Dynamics GP and focus on that path forward of Dynamics 365 Business Central, and then spend a good 15 minutes or so actually showing you a sneak peek of the solution to really help you see how it can be a benefit for your organization. Now, the realities of Dynamics GP today are that very recently Microsoft has moved Dynamics GP to their modern lifecycle policy. And what that means is you're no longer, once you're upgraded to the latest version, which is 18.x3 is the current version right now, that you are no longer on the life cycle where every couple of years Microsoft puts out a major version within service packs from there. Going forward, as long as you are applying a service pack about once a year, you will be on the latest version of GP going forward. Microsoft does have those updates scheduled through the November, December of 2024 timeline as of this point, and we don't know after that. But this lifecycle policy also puts it on a 12-month end-of-life notification guarantee. So that means Microsoft will give at least 12 months notice if they're saying, look, we are going to stop supporting Dynamics GP. So really, what's next? That's not a comforting feeling to know that you'll have at least 12 months. We don't know exactly when that's going to be. And the fact is that not much has changed in the product for the last couple of years. It's getting harder and harder to keep secure, to maintain. It's on a much older dexterity and web-based client limitations that are just very difficult to use in a modern way. And Microsoft has clearly moved to a Dynamics 365 focus with a very shrinking team, and they're no longer even trying to sell Dynamics GP as at this point. So at Arctic IT, we are looking forward to what's next because Microsoft is pushing hard for folks to get off of GP to Dynamics 365. As we said, it's becoming more and more unstable, and third-party software will stop supporting GP. Almost all of them are developing now for Dynamics 365. They are ready for what's next. And that just means that the cost to perform GP work will continue to increase and will be more and more difficult to keep modern and relevant going forward. So GP has served us well for the last 20 years, but that is not the way of the future. But we are excited for the way of the future, that path forward from Dynamics GP. And that path forward is migrating to Dynamics 365. You might have heard the Dynamics 365 product line or nomenclature used before. And really what that is it's more than just a financial system. It's more than just an upgraded accounting system. It is truly a platform that enables what was typically done in lots of separate pieces of software over the years onto a single platform called Dynamics 365. So in Microsoft's terms, that's unifying CRM and ERP capabilities to break down data silos and to provide a modern, intelligent platform for your business going forward. So that's beyond things just like Business Central, the finance aspect, but supply chain management, commerce and retail, field service, customer service, project service automation, marketing, sales, lots of things that are normally just disconnected systems now all together as part of Dynamics 365. And all using what is now called the Dataverse, but a common data model, which means that a customer in one system is a customer for all systems. You can still secure those and keep those separately, but you've got shared records across these applications to ensure that things are kept up to date. You no longer have those data silos, just a much more modern and giving you one source of truth across the application. And truly embedded with Microsoft 365, Office 365, Power BI, and other applications from Microsoft to just give you a rich usage of this that allows you to adapt and be more modern continually going forward rather than trying to keep up with a legacy piece of code like Dynamics GP. But today's focus is on the ERP side, the financial system, which is Business Central. And that really is the newest mid-market offering from Microsoft that has its history in Dynamics NAV. It's optimized financials. It's great for inventory, distributions, that supply chain management stuff we're talking about, project accounting. It has budget to actual capabilities in it, good reporting, and it's all and available with a powerful mobile app. So you can use it on the go. This past year, for our folks that had already migrated to the cloud, being securely able to use a system like Business Central while having to work remotely or not knowing where you're going to work on a day-to-day basis, depending upon the state laws and everything of that day, it is really empowered a remote workforce to work securely while on the go, like using the app or using the full-fledged browser-based access. Uh, and we'll see some of those Outlook and Excel add-ins later today. But more importantly, besides the cloud integration platform options, is that it also provides a data migration wizard to bring over all of your history from Dynamics GP into Business Central. So you've got the information you're used to using with Smart List look and feel to be able to report on your history while having those key records and open transactions available at your fingertips on day of go live without having to manually type all that in. And as we said, it enables you to work wherever you go, whether it's using the app, whether that's using the browser-based access. It is internet accessible. It's very securely using Azure Active Directory. So users can access it, use it, approve, review transactions anywhere that is allowed by your organization, all through encrypted secure access via Dynamics 365. And you can use that also within Office 365 itself. So you can be in Outlook and get an email from your vendors and see your vendor balances. Start AP workflows without ever leaving your Outlook client. And we'll see that in just a little bit, just making everything much more modern, much more efficient for you to interact with your system as you go. And for those of you that have been using some ISVs with Great Plains that you really, really like, a lot of those have been redeveloped and available for Business Central as well. So some of those key functionalities that maybe are available in GP via third party that aren't available out of box in Business Central, a lot of those same third parties like McCormick, those things are starting to become available for Dynamics 365 as well. And again, we are Dynamics Microsoft Gold partners. We've been happy to support many of you on GP for a number of years, and that same level of expertise of Arctic IT and what we bring on top of the Microsoft platform continues going forward. Again, we are very proud of our Native Alaskan heritage and proud to be federally certified ANC 8A working with you all in your system today. But what you really want to know is, well, what does the system look like? How do I use it? So I'm going to spend last little bit here flipping over into Business Central itself to give you a sneak peek. As you can see, I am logged into Business Central, one of Arctic IT's demonstration environments. And what we see here is I am just using Google Chrome. It is simply a browser-based access logged in, secured via Azure Active Directory. So what that means is the same login and account that I use for getting my email, logging into the network, all that in the morning is what is used for securing and logging into Business Central. So it's a single sign-on, fully secured authentication method to get in. So you no longer have to remember separate usernames and passwords and administer that. It's all part of that same network login from Active Directory. Now, when you come in, you will initially see your homepage or your role center, as it's called. My role center right now is set up as a business manager. So that means that I am seeing kind of an overview of the system with the functions and things that I would like to see. So when I first come in, I've got my homepage here, and you see certain KPIs and things already standing out. What I was saying is I want to know every time I log in what our current AR balance is, because at this point is $70,000, or what our current AP balance is, 55,000. Maybe other predicted items, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. But we see these ongoing activity buttons, as they're called, going down the list, which are the things that I interact with most that I want to see. So things, what are outstanding quotes or sales orders or purchase orders that we're waiting to receive. And all of these kind of give you that smart list feel then when you drill down into those to see, here's a list of our open purchase orders that I clicked on. I can see who they are from, what the amounts are. I can add and hide columns. I can subtotal things just like you can with smart lists in GP. And I could drill down to get more information at any time. So I want to look at this purchase order, for instance. I can open this up and get all the details. And not only am I seeing the purchase order information on the left hand of the panel, what's here, what are the details, what did we order, where is it coming from, how many are we waiting to receive, 27 of these desks. But over here, I also get a view of the vendor itself. And we see this all throughout, these information panes that are available. So I can see attachments related to this purchase order and any notes related to that, but then also seeing our current vendor status with this, so I can understand if where we are in general with this vendor, if they're frequently outstanding, and maybe we need to start negotiating better prices or find a better supplier so we can get what we need when we need it. Right? So that same information pane, the way that you can drill throughout the system, dive in and see more information, similar with a similar look and feel to the smart list design. So it's a nice, easy transition for those coming from Dynamics GP, but giving you better information and more access more quickly than we've ever been able to in Dynamics GP. Another piece we see here is this idea of incoming documents. We see that I have 3 incoming documents, and most often this is used for like an accounts payable queue. We'll see how some of these can get in here, but you notice that I've got 3 invoices sitting here waiting for my review. And we see, for instance, this GCI example that it says OCR status of success. Business Central comes available with an automatic interface with ReadSoft Online, and ReadSoft Online provides OCR service. So with that, you can route an invoice through this OCR process provided by ReadSoft Online, and it's going to read the attachment and bring information back from you. So for instance, if I open up my GCI example, right, I can see an attachment of some information stuff here, and it's going to read that off of there and provide this back for me to start that actual invoice process. And so from here, I could request approval to start the approval transaction workflow if needed. Or we have options to do things like correcting OCR. Maybe this is the first time an invoice from this vendor, excuse me, has gone through the OCR process and a little bit of the information, excuse me, was not correct. So I can correct that information and send that feedback back so that it can learn using that machine learning, so that the AI next time can be more accurate when it's reading an invoice from that vendor. So it learns and reacts to your corrections of the data that it brings in, so that it makes that more and more accurate and increases your efficiency more and more as time goes on. And then once you've reviewed this information and are ready to go, you can process this to create the actual invoice record inside of Business Central with all that information and and this said failed because I had created this one previously, so it is a duplicate. But this allows you to go through that process and really increase the efficiency all through this incoming documents queue. And even if you don't want to use the OCR process, you can submit invoices that come in via email, maybe to a certain email address, automatically get added to this queue, or you can add them yourself by uploading a document or adding it to this queue right from your email inbox, giving you a view of what needs to be reviewed, processed, to really increase the efficiency of your accounts payable process. But Microsoft also knows that right now, when people are learning how to do things in a modern age, one of the first things we do is we go out to YouTube to see, okay, how can I learn about how to process a certain type of transaction in the system or to run a certain type of report? So Microsoft has created videos. For instance, if we wanted to know about how do you work with Power BI, or maybe setting up the bank integration, or creating a job in the project module of the system. By clicking on these, it's taking you right out to the Business Central YouTube website that's showing you training videos that Microsoft continually updates and adds to the system, just to make it that much easier and more up to date. Because you're using a web-based system, they can automatically keep those videos up to date. If there's a change in the system, the videos and the documentation can be updated without ever having to download or do anything else, because it's all in real time available via the web interface. As we go down, we'll continue to see approval workflows, other things available for you to use throughout the entire system. We also have the ability to add things like your favorite accounts. So if you're responsible for reconciling certain types of accounts, you can always see what that current balance is on your account. Or running various KPIs and Power BI reports, trial balances, financial statements, all those sorts of reports you would normally create, maybe go to different screens. You can establish them as your favorite. So when you log into the system, they're ready to go. So you can review them right from the web page. Or you can review them from your app, because all of these reports and information is available via Android or iOS using the associated apps. Now, one key difference throughout the system with Business Central is the idea of a dimension. With Dynamics GP, you have your different segments of your chart of account, and each one of those segments, you have to kind of set up and control that full account string for every account you create in the system. Business Central simplifies that and gives you more control by having your main account segments, what are your asset accounts, expense accounts, those things. But then each of those segments in Business Central is, excuse me, in Dynamics GP is now a dimension in Business Central. So a very common dimension that lots of folks have is departments, right? So you might want to run reports by departments or catalog transactions by departments. So for instance, here I can go in and see I currently have these 5 departments: administration, through support. And unless I tell the system otherwise, all of the GL accounts can be utilized in these accounts without having to set up all the different strings and control that, which creates kind of an administration nightmare whenever you want to add a new department or a new segment description in Dynamics GP or a dimension in Business Central. This is also kind of a handy, simple way of showing that interface with Excel as well. So if I say edit in Excel, you'll see that it creates an Excel file right here that when I open up, let me close out of my existing one, apologize. When I open up that Excel file, we'll see it's completely blank. There's nothing in it. But when I click Enable Editing, the Microsoft Dynamics add-in opens up over here and it validates my authentication. It makes sure that before I can see any of this information, that I am authorized to see it. So once it's done that, it's logged in, it's validated my account against Dynamics to say that, yes, I am authorized to see the department segment values. Then very quickly here, I could say, well, look, now I'm going to add a new one here. Let's call this service. I'm just simply creating a new department here. When I click publish, when I go back into Business Central, now let me take a look at these values. We can now see the service department has been added. Now, that aspect of using Excel to add one department is probably not how you'd utilize the system. But if you start thinking about what if you need to change a remit to address for a whole bunch of vendors at the same time, or you've got a list of your fixed assets that you're changing the classification on, or items that you're updating some dimensional values of that. If you can start doing this in Excel and uploading those changes, it keeps track of who made them and when, regardless if you're doing that through the system or through Excel. Excuse me. And it does not bypass any of the business rules in the system. It's a complete interface available in Excel, so you can upload journal entries. You could create record changes for anything that you are authorized to do in Excel very quickly by just publishing in there. No more saving it by a certain file name in a certain location and then running some batch file in the background. It happens automatically through that publish feature using the Dynamics add-in. In a similar fashion, we have, excuse me, the idea of the Outlook add-in. I have my live email up here where we see from a demonstration email that I had sent, I had received in my email inbox an invoice for this past month's services. Now up at the top, we'll see that we have this idea of a Business Central add-in inside of Outlook. When I click on Contact Insights, because I have this email address associated with a vendor and or a customer in the system, it can now, right from inside of Outlook, show me what my current vendor statistics are. It shows me that right now, I've got an outstanding balance of $8,000, but we've ordered a lot from them. We got $62,000 on POs that have not come in. But it's not just showing this as static information. You can drill on this, and still inside of Outlook, it's showing me here's all the line items we've ordered and we are waiting for shipment from this vendor. Right? I can also see other history of this. Past invoices, past credit memos, orders, and payments provided to them, all without leaving Outlook. And even more from here, we can come up and we can start some new processes. I can say, I want to start the workflow of this, send this for approval request. So without having to leave email, it's going to take this invoice, throw it into approval request and start that routing. Or from down here, I can send it directly from here into OCR, into the incoming documents to have AP review it before sending on for final approval. Or maybe you need to create a new purchase order based on this. Again, you can fully interact with Business Central without leaving Outlook, just making your process that much quicker, that much more efficient, and getting your information at the fingertips to really speed things up. And something that you can never enable with a legacy piece of software like Dynamics GP. And this is fully secured with that Azure Active Directory account, fully encrypted secured behind the scenes, making it much more secure in doing so than we've ever had with legacy software in the past. Again, this was just a quick view of everything that at a high level of how you can start utilizing Business Central to see how a modernization really takes a step forward than we've had with Dynamics GP. And even though we love GP and it's been good for us in the past, as we start looking at how can we most properly secure things, protect us and our customers from cyber attacks, things out there, a system like Business Central just provides so much better and more modern of a platform, so much more secure with the Azure Active Directory and all of the full power of Microsoft data centers behind your security. It just while enabling vastly increased efficiencies with more modern processes and just an easier, more modern, easy to use system. It truly is that step forward for our Dynamics GP customers, and we're excited to be bringing this to our customers and to be supporting this and implementing it going forward. So thank you again for joining us today. We were glad to share this with you, and we're excited to talk to you more about why Dynamics 365 is the best fit for those coming off Dynamics GP. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We look forward to talking with you soon.